This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather, ho there, Jeff Cutter Diamond, welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, July the 29th, in the year 2018, Major League Baseball had their Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And it was big, one of the biggest draft classes, one of the biggest Hall of Fame classes of all time. 6 guys were in the Hall of Fame. First of all was Chipper Jones, Atlanta Brave legend, and the guy who my cousin Tim had a sweater of, a baseball jersey of. Chipper was the #1 overall pick in 1990. Yeah, 1990. Was it 91? 91, sorry. I think it was 1991. Can't remember. But anyway, Chipper Jones was the #1 overall pick. Chipper had to go leadoff because of his wife giving birth. Fortunately, though, the child did not get born during the ceremony. Chipper, in a speech, thanked the Braves organization for giving him so many years as a Brave. He didn't play for anyone else other than Atlanta. Great teams of the 90s and 2000s. All that. Chipper actually gave great gratitude towards Bobby Cox, who put Chipper in the 3-hole as a rookie, and watched him become an impact player on the 95 Brave squad. It's amazing to see Chipper bring that third base spot for the Braves in a good scene. Chipper thanked Bobby Cox for his contributions to the game. All that. And Chipper also thanked the Braves fans in attendance for doing the tomahawk chop. Two Tigers players from the 1984 World Series roster were in at the same time. First off was Alan Trammell. Alan Trammell was one of the best shortstops in the 1980s in baseball, and that includes Tony Fernandez. Trammell got robbed of the 1987 MVP award by George Bell. I mean, I know it's weird, me being a Blue Jay fan, and I'm saying this, but Trammell deserved better. Well, in 87, he was why the Tigers came back to win the AL East after a choke job. Anyway, yeah. It was fun and all that. Trammell thanks Lou Whitaker, his double play partner for 19 years, who didn't get into the Hall. Anyway, it was amazing that Lou Whitaker and Alan Trammell were called out to the big leagues from AA on the same day, playing their first game at Fenway Park on the same day, and got hits in our first MLB at bats off Reggie Cleveland. That's what Trammell said. We both got our last hits off of the same pitcher, Mike Fetters. Anyway, it was amazing. Trammell and Morris had to wait a while because they were on the baseball writers ballot for 15 years before getting voting in. But the Modern Era Committee got the vote and put Trammell and Morris in. Trammell is a special assistant to the Tigers GM. So Trammell did his motions and all that. More on Trammell's teammate later. But anyway, Vladdy Guerrero went up next. And it was amazing, you know. Vladdy Guerrero was an icon for the Montreal Expos. Came up in the majors, I think it was his second game in 96. He hit his first home run. But anyway, Vladdy was the power hitter that Montreal coveted for many years before leaving for the Angels in 2004. And of course, the same year Montreal lost their franchise. So anyway, Guerrero couldn't do much in English, but you know, he did his remarks in Spanish. But anyway, Guerrero says he doesn't speak a lot. But let me tell you how I'm happy to be part of this group, because some of them I saw and watched play, and I witnessed it, and also I got to play a lot again. It's a lot of them, and it means a lot to me. In fact, Vladdy is was the first position player from the Dominican Republic to be enshrined into the Baseball Hall of Fame. It was amazing and all that. Many fans were waving the Dominican or Canadian flag because of his Expo stuff. And the air horns blared when his name was announced. Of course, it's a little controversial that Vladdy has an Angels cap on his plaque, which kind of shocked me. I mean, Montreal gave him the start and all that. Anyway, he's a proud pop. At the time when he got into the Hall of Fame, Vladdy Jr. was 19 years old and part of the #1 prospect in baseball. And then Guerrero would move up to AAA Buffalo. Of course, Guerrero Jr., of course, is still in the Blue Jays organization as a starting first baseman, but never mind. Anyway, Trevor Hoffman was next on the list. He was the master of the changeup. And his career had a changeup of sorts. He was taken in the 11th round of the '89 draft as a shortstop. And then all of a sudden, he decided to switch to pitching by 1993. And in '93, he got to the major leagues, playing for Florida in their inaugural season before being down to San Diego in the Gary Sheffield deal. He even said, "It's an honor being up here with the other great shortstops of the game." Wink, wink. Anyway, Hoffman was the star pitcher for the Padres, Hells Bells and all that. He had the saves record before Mo Rivera did it. Anyway, Hoffman borrowed the line from John Wooden, saying, "Things turn out best for the people who make the best of the way things turn out." It was amazing. He put up 600 plus saves. He was happy being a San Diego Padre. And then, of course, Jack Morris was next on the list. As with Trammell, Morris had an agonizing wait. He had to go through the Veterans Committee. And Jack Morris says it's very special and all that. Morris won 4 World Series titles in his 18-year career and won 162 games, the most of any pitcher in the 1980s. He was 1980's personified. 1984 was his best year. He had a no-hitter in the first week of the season against the White Sox on national TV on NBC, and then led the Tigers to the World Series, where he was dominant. On 4 World Series. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Jack Morris would leave Detroit to play for Minnesota for 1 season. He just played 1 season with Minnesota, helping them win the '91 World Series and winning that Game 7 epic finale in 10 innings. Now, of course, it's a little controversial because Atlanta's Lonnie Smith made a bad base running gaffe in the 8th inning. If it wasn't for that gaffe, I think Atlanta might have won, or it would have been a tighter game. It would have been like 2-1 or something like that. It was amazing. One of the greatest World Series of all time, 1991 Twins Braves. That took a special moment, like Jack Morris's 10-inning shutout. And Jack Morris said that he loved himself for that effort. He only spent 1 year in Minnesota, and then he went to the Toronto Blue Jays, which was shocking. It's like, the Blue Jays? Wow. So the Blue Jays, after seeing Jack Morris ruining them for many years, said, if you can't beat him, join him. So they got Jack Morris, and in Toronto, he helped the Blue Jays win the AL pennant and the World Series. Although Jack Morris was not really that great in the playoffs. Seeing him struggle in the playoffs was just awful. I mean, he did win 20 games for the Jays, but he struggled in the playoffs. He was the guy who could have sewn down the Blue Jays World Series title in Game 5 against the Braves, but he didn't. And in '93, he struggled a bit. He was still part of the '93 roster that went to the World Series, but I don't think he pitched in the postseason. And then Jim Thome did it. The 6th and final person. Jim Thome was an icon for the Cleveland Indians organization. Originally a third baseman before being switched to first base, he was a power hitter for all power hitters, and he liked Jacobs Field and all that. Sure, he went on to Philadelphia, the White Sox, and a few other places, but he still was Cleveland royalty. I mean, part of the '90s squad that had Albert Bell, Carlos Baerga, Omar Vizquel, Sandy Alomar Jr., Eddie Murray at times, Manny Ramirez. Cleveland rocked, and Jim Thome rocked more than 500 home runs. Not all of them with Cleveland, but he still rocked a lot of home runs. Cleveland and Philly really gave him a place to be, and that's what happened. And so, yeah, a powerful roster of Hall of Famers were inducted in 2018. The Blue Jays got to see a former player, and the Expos got to see a former player in the Hall of Fame too. What more can you do for? Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.